Today we're getting under the hood of women's health with Carolyn, a wife and mother whose career has spanned 44 years. Prior to her recent retirement, Carolyn was the global in-business risk and control lead for Citibank's banking, capital markets, and advisory business. Carolyn will get under the hood of post-menopause.
I began menopause about 10 years ago, which would put me at my mid-50s, approximately 55, 56. My post-menopause experience has actually been extremely positive. I do believe there is a myth out there in literature, in what uninformed people will tell you, and perhaps even some informed people, that once you hit this phase of your life, which is on the other side of what I would call growth, if you think about it, when you're born, you grow, you mature, you become stronger. There's a view that you're starting to age and therefore you could become weaker. I am very fortunate, and I really do mean this, very fortunate, that I have someone who I work with who is very good and continues to lead me through that process, so that I'm doing this without risk of serious injury. And I have, yeah, sure, I get sore from time to time, but we address that. So for me, I probably feel better than I felt when I was in my 50s, to be perfectly candid, maybe even my 40s. My mental health as well is great. I don't, yes, I do forget things from time to time, but I think we all do forget things. But I really do think it's important, and I've been more engaged on how I engage my mind, whether it's doing crossword puzzles on a daily basis, whether it's doing word games in the morning, continuing to read, to read from a book versus screen time, which I personally believe deadens a bit of that stimulation that one may have. I feel calmer at this point in my life. And whether that's a result of a hormonal change or whether it's just a result of all of the experiences over the past 65 years and the learnings from that, I do feel calmer. The anxieties that I would have had around certain things in the past, I don't have anymore. I still have some anxieties, but they're much more muted than they were before. So I do believe it probably is some type of a combination between a hormonal change and just how I've matured as a woman. Menopause isn't, in my view, isn't just about the hormonal change in your body. It's a whole new stage of your life, if you think about it. And I would say it's really important to factor all of these things in together. And what I mean by that is the maturity, what you've learned from your prior experiences. I'm really, really excited. If you think about it, so many things for me have changed within the last 6 months. I turned 65. I retired after 44 years. That is a huge change if you think about it. I spent 55% of my time on the road in another city, traveling. I had a very, very demanding job, a demanding career. And so now all of a sudden that's all over. So I'm excited. I'm excited about how can I take what I've done professionally and bring it forward. I have no intention of working full-time again. I can say that. But who knows? Maybe I'll be doing something part-time. I'm looking forward to finding very select opportunities to give back, to volunteer. I'm excited about probably changing where I've spent the last 18 years of my life in Chicago, not knowing yet where that next place will be, but finding the time to explore and to think about what suits us best. And all of those kinds of things. There are many unknowns, but I'm not afraid. There are many unknowns, and I'm really excited, and I have a very, very positive attitude about what's going to come next. I really have had very few physical symptoms in the postmenopausal period. I haven't had hot flashes. Probably the only thing that I've experienced are the sleep disturbances. And I generally wake up once or twice every night, but I tend to be very fortunate in that I'm able to go right back to sleep, so that while my sleep isn't continuous, it is deep, and I'm not awake and fretting for long periods of time. So in that regard, I feel very fortunate, and I can't explain why. That's the only thing that's impacted me. I'm sure it has something to do with my, my physio makeup or my hormonal makeup. I think there are a number of strategies, some which are very concrete, others maybe less concrete or maybe less serious, so to speak. So the first thing is making sure that I continue to focus on my physical well-being. And I'm very fortunate in that I have my husband, we're of a like mind. We are both very much of the mind that we want to remain mobile, and we want to maintain our mental acuity. So we work at it really hard, but it's not work. It's really fun. It gives us a lot of satisfaction. And I recognize now that I'm retired, and I think this is really important, that I could lose the adeptness and the ability to solve problems that I had when I was working every day. So whether it be every morning with a cup of coffee, doing a crossword puzzle or a word game, that is just one example of how I keep that I'm confident that I still have the ability to do that. Self-compassion, I think, or I believe, is all about accepting who you are and liking who you are, as well as accepting or realizing that there are things that you need to work on. And I think that's if you take that type of a view, it really improves how you feel about yourself, but it also improves the types of relationships you have with the people around you, because you're able to recognize that, yes, well, I do this really well, but over the past, let's say 30 years, I might have developed a certain habit or a certain way of doing things when I was in the professional world. Now I'm not in the professional world. Maybe I need to change that a little bit. So really, I try to think about self-consciousness in accepting who I am, recognizing that I can always improve myself, but really liking who I am. And at the end of the day, if you were to ask me, what do I want people to say about me after they meet me? It's not, oh, Carolyn's so funny. It's, I really respect Carolyn as a person. And if that's the outcome, then I am very happy. And I try to approach everything that I do in that way. So it's going to be a period of adjustment. It's going to be a period of not being afraid of what lies ahead, but embracing the opportunity to do different things, embracing the opportunity to take what I've done in the past and apply it in a different way on a go-forward basis. I'm very much looking forward. I am a mother, so I have, a grown son. He's embarking on a life with a soon to be spouse. I'm really looking forward to that, not being a parent, but being a grandparent, being there for them when they need us, being there to watch them embark on building their life together, because it is their life, and growing their family together. Clearly, we're part of it, but they are going to have, their own family, hopefully, one day going forward. And then finally, the last thing would be spending more time with my husband, doing things that we haven't done as much in the past together, finding new things that we like to do together. My advice for the post-menopause phase would be, it's not all downhill. In fact, you've actually kind of run up and down a hill, and now you've turned the corner and you have an opportunity to run up a hill, up another hill again. So I would really encourage women to not think of this as being a negative time for them, that they've lost their sexuality, for example, because you haven't. It's just how you approach it, and knowing you can embrace it and address it in the appropriate ways. At this stage of life, I think that there are three things that I would say. One, embrace it. You've got so many wonderful years in front of you. Many of you will be in a position where you have, if you were working, decided to leave the workforce permanently. Many of you who have children, they will be grown, they will be, adults on their own. And so this leaves you the opportunity to explore so many things that you might have wanted to look at in the past, but haven't had the opportunity to do that. So embrace it. Go for it. This is not about being the expert at it. This is about finding something that you enjoy by yourself, with other people, and just, having new experiences. Secondly, I would say, be conscious and aware of how your body continues to change, because your body will continue to change as you go, because now you're post-menopause. So your body will continue to age and to change. And it's very important that you take care of yourself. And what I mean by that is twofold. Make sure that you go to the doctors on a regular basis. And if something isn't feeling right, don't be afraid. And whatever you do, don't ignore it. Go and see someone to address it. Likely it's going to be nothing, but in the event it is something, you now have the opportunity to address it early on, and more than likely solve it in a very positive fashion.